Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to an installment of those things that people seem to love. And honestly, I had expected more ire risen by the previous ones. I think this is number 6, tier list number 6. And this is the one where, you know, people have inexplicable brand loyalties. I understand that. So we're gonna raise some hackles for sure. I'm going to bounce around, and here's the thing. If it goes on here, if that Avery 8160 label gets stuck on this fancy piece of cardboard of unknown origin, I have personal experience from it. I have purchased it, I have tested it, I have used it, I have modified it, what have you. I make no statements based on vehicles with which I have no experience. Not via internet, not via word of mouth, none of that. If it goes on the list, it is because I have used it. And that said, the very first one to go on the list is the one that should go on the list first. In the Traxxas fashion, largely unchanged over approaching a decade, the TRX4 Sport. Yes, we are sad that the TRX4 Sport kit is gone, but the TRX4 Sport RTR costs about $30 more. It used to cost $20 more. We live in the tariff times, and a lot of the placements on this list will be influenced by those tariff times, because some of the prices have achieved a level I would regard as ludicrous, unsustainable. Like, people are... If they are, they should not be paying these prices for these things, because the return on investment, the ROI is simply not there. With the TRX4 Sport, the ROI is there. It is an absolutely forgivable RTR, because I am no great fan of RTRs. I think people should build kits, because then you get exactly what you want with nothing superfluous. But in the case of the TRX4 Sport, it has an unlicensed body, which is perfectly acceptable. It is absolutely fine, one might even say. It has the best insert. In terms of RTR vehicles, come off the shelf, we've got the best radio. The TQI is no home run hitter, but it's perfectly acceptable. It is tried and true. The best tires, the best gearbox, the best axle, all of the best things. Extremely robust, and it is a vehicle that well and truly is RTR. You put batteries in it and you can drive it. It has no fatal flaws. Many other vehicles out there, I'm going to slap 2 on here, do have fatal flaws. They have a number of issues. The company can't get geometry right. The parts are substandard. The fitment of the parts is substandard. The Wendigo and the Marksman from Redcat are effectively the same platform. Axial swing, bump steer, unsafe at any speed. I challenge anyone to get a Wendigo to go in a straight line on a flat surface at any amount of speed. And then above and beyond that, they got it reversed. They sell this one as like a U4 rock bouncer, and this one is a rock crawler. But this is the one with the longer wheelbase, and it sits lower. So, and comes with better electronics. A Hobbywing 1080 and a Holmes Trailmaster. But if the selling point for your rock crawler, if the highest selling point is that you have better electronics in it, that's like putting that big 200,000 mile warranty on a car that is of substandard quality, because then you can sell the car a little cheaper, right? Redcat, you will notice a theme of what I call the false economy. They hook you with a lower price point, and your upgrade path is both necessary and arduous. So that is going to move you much further down the list. Element is going to land you right here, right in the C tier, right in the average, with the Enduro SE and the U-Tron. The Enduro SE is 4-link, and the U-Tron is IFS. They're the same vehicle. They have bushings, they have bad tires, they have the ultimate failing of the Element platform, which is, my pinion is too small. But when on sale, you can procure one for around $200, which is going to put you cheaper than some Axial mini and micro offerings. So it can get you into 10th scale, and it won't fail you the way that a Redcat will, because they did do things like get the geometry correct, and there are parts commonalities, and parts are more readily available. And there's nothing out of the box that you absolutely, utterly need to correct. I don't think that a vehicle being fitted with bushings would automatically slide it further down the list, because we are rock crawling. And in rock crawling, you're 5 feet away doing a mile an hour, and you can get away with a lot more. Let's do one off the thing here. We'll break out, right? Maybe potentially unpopular, the FMS FCX10 K5, not the LC80. The FCX10 K5 gets an A tier because it is RTR. You can take it out of the box. It has an 11-channel radio in it. You can turn the headlights on and off. It has lockers. It has a 2-speed. It has all of the bits and bobs. It does not have anywhere remotely close to the part support of a TRX4 Sport or a TRX4. I just call them scale and trail, right? This is going to be, again, potentially unpopular. I'm going to put these together right there in A. The TRX4 scale and trails, which are all of the ones fitted with 2 speeds and lockers. So the Broncos, the Blazers, the Defenders, all of them. They're A tier. You absolutely don't need the gubbins. You don't need the bells and whistles. These are equivalent in the stuff netted. In fact, I would put the FCX10 as kind of an evolution of the TRX4 scale and trail. The Sport has an elegant simplicity, robust, ready to upgrade. You can make a TRX4 Sport into anything you want. A scale and trail, you're going to have to take a bunch of it away. They've got big, heavy, beautiful bodies. Those are going to hold them back forever. If you want to use them for multi-surface stuff, if you want to do some trailing and do some crawling, any of these would be great, right? But in terms of pure rock crawling, and we're looking at them mostly in terms of rock crawling, because I just realized, thankfully, I've got some blank ones because I've forgotten a number. The scale and trails, there's a price premium, right? The top version of this, tariff times, $550. And you can usually get this one about $320, $330. $200. My recommendation to 9 out of 10 people would be, get the Sport. Take that $200, put a Fusion and a better servo in it, and buy a radio while you're at it, and you're done. You're good. Maybe throw in some cheap beadlocks that you found on AliExpress or Amazon. We haven't gotten any Vanquish on here. Okay. I've heard many people say in the past that the Stance is the most capable RTR out of the box. No, it's C tier. It's hard C tier. It is proto-average and indicative of the business practice of Vanquish, which is give you less for more, because, and we will throw a red one on here, because unquestionably, one of the best, if not the best, RTR that you can buy with your money, as I record this right now, you'll notice it's a different color, is the VRD Carbon. The VRD Carbon is not available as an RTR. It is sold only as a kit. But if you buy that for $500, or if you buy that for the $430 or whatever it was last I checked, $70 less, by the time you get that to parity with that, you'll have spent more on that than you would if you had just bought that in the first place. There is roughly $700 worth of Vanquish hop-up parts, quality of life pieces, in that aren't in that. You're exchanging $700 worth of hop-up parts for about $60 worth of RTR gear. It's not worth it. Pick the tire you want and the body that you want and the electronics that you want, and you'll have something truly good. Just good. This, you will need to upgrade, and then you will find yourself wishing that you had bought a VRD Carbon. They have the same geometry. They have the same gearbox layout. They have all the same things. The quality of life improvements on the VRD Carbon render the stance irrelevant. I had contemplated putting the stance in D tier because the body looks like a boat. But it is bona fide average. Oh, okay, here we go. We gotta get at least one down there. Below F tier, the Element Enduro 12, aka the Thunder Tiger 4x4 off-road vehicle, which spawned originally out of a promotional tie-in with the video game PUBG, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. It's awful. It's awful. No parts fit it. It doesn't have enough gear reduction. It's a turd, to put it lightly, and the pricing just keeps sliding up and up and up. It's very close in the price of that to get that, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Anything that comes fitted with the 10.3 gearbox, with the 10.3 slush musher, is going to land in the same place. To call the 10.3 gearbox a turd is an insult to turds, because turds can be processed and used to fertilize. The 10.3 gearbox has the worst implementation of dig, the worst implementation of a two-speed that I would regard as vestigial. Many times you will be attempting to ascend a rock and be like, why am I rolling back? Oh, because I'm in second gear. The gear split between first gear and second gear is so small, you will forget that you're in second gear. You will never do that in a TRX4. Because first gear goes like this, and second gear goes like, whachoo! You can turn a TRX4 into a rocket if it is fitted with a two-speed. And if you bought a TRX4 Sport and you decide you want to put a two-speed in it later, you can go on Amazon and you can buy a complete gearbox with the two-speed mechanism and a servo attached for about $35, which is why the TRX4 Sport lands up as high as it does. So, we've got oddities, right? The oddities, like the Charisma, the Coyote series, the SCA 1E, definitely goes in the C tier because it has nothing particularly remarkable about it at all. It's nice. What they do best is bodies. The Prairie Wolf, which is a big old van. Who doesn't love a van? And the Coyote itself, the Coyote 2.1, is a Toyota Stout. And if you don't know what a Toyota Stout is, look it up. It is a fantastic pickup truck, and I think it should be further embraced. But the platform itself is weird. Part of the gearbox bolts to the side of the rail. The rails are some of the thinnest metal C-channels I've ever encountered. The axles are weird. There's a lot of bolts to put them together. The parts are very specific. If it was between any of these three, it's still the Enduro SE in the C tier. I would put, and it's sort of a whole class. They're all going to arrive together. We're going to put the Sendero, which is the other Element offering. That is the one that has the stuff on it. So it will have metal links, etc. They will never ascend above B tier. And that's all of them. Whether it's the titanium, whether it is the Trail Runner, whether it is the Bushido, which also has issues in that it has equal length links front and rear, which is not optimized for crawling. Who else have I got? We've got the Ecto. We've got the Zool, which is a Class 1 Ecto, effectively. Basically, same exact layout underneath with the trailing arms. We've got the Zool 2, which is a Zool with IFS, with independent front suspension on it. And they're going to end up right here in B tier. And Element is not going to be able to punch themselves up above B tier for a singular reason. And I own a lot of them because they made a pinion that is too small And they fitted those vehicles with the worst electronics known to man. The G4P radio, which is commonly featured. Apparently there's a new one that has supplanted the G4P now. The aforementioned Reedy SC480X and the Reedy Crawler 540 and 550 motors are garbage. Absolute garbage. No one else is putting worse RTR gear in a vehicle than what Element does. The Element RTR gear is so bad that it's insulting. It truly is. It's genuinely awful. And then we have others. We have others like, you want an unpopular opinion. The Capra is average. The Capra is sub-average. The Capra is average. Little asterisk here. Because currently, the current model of the four-wheel steer Capra is $560. Buy literally anything above this line for less than what it costs for a Capra. If you want something in a cage, build something in a cage. Don't buy a four-wheel steer Capra, because you're stuck with a bunch of electronics that you're going to have to throw away, tires that are unsuited to the vehicle, and by the time you're done, you've built a $1,000 Capra, and some guy with a TRX4 Sport with $500 into it is going to kill the same lines as you. Problematic. Joining, and for a litany of reasons, which we'll elaborate here momentarily. The Axial Ghoulie Moo, I am giving the benefit of the doubt, and I'm putting it in D tier, because it can be built to perform for about $1,000. It sells for $599.99 as an RTR. The electronics are not up to the task. None of them. Not the servo, not the motor, not any of it. The pumpkins and the axles are the size of full-grown summer watermelons. They are not pumpkins, they are watermelons, because they attempted to fit ASD, Axial Selectable Drive. Axial Selectable Drive doesn't work. It works about 50% of the time, if you're lucky. Fitted to the dig position, it basically doesn't work at all. It's improperly designed. ASD was built wrong, and they built a whole vehicle around it. But the axles, if they didn't have ASD, if ASD wasn't in the way, it's the most portal drop of any axle. The gears are cheap, robust, and available. The gearbox is gigantic and overwrought. It's far too big. The Guillemot, if it was available as a kit with the ASD bits in it, and they worked, which they don't, it comes on 525 tires, which are nowhere near big enough for how big a Ghoulie Moo is. People will drive them and say, "Oh my God, it's so good. It's amazing. It's a line killer. You're going to need new lines. It destroys the lines." No, it doesn't. What you've confused is, in the one hand, you have a thought, and that thought is capability. And what you actually have in your real hands, in person, is what's called capacity of scale. It's like a 400 and some odd millimeter wheelbase. So your 10th scale lines that get your 313 millimeter wheelbase hung up, they don't get hung up now, because your vehicle is this long. It's big. Big can do things that's tougher for small. Go out to your 10th scale lines that are deemed easy, that you can just, I can kill these lines all day, and put an 18th scale. Put a TRX4M on it, or put an SCX24 on it, and find that that line is now impassable, because capacity of scale. What is inexcusable is that the Guillemot costs $600 and comes with one ASD, which doesn't work. And if you want to add additional ASD modules, which you should not, they are $95 each. Does anything more need be said? The tires that come with it are not only not up to the task, but they're too small. You will be $900 into a Guillemot just to get it to do the same thing that basically any vehicle above it will do at its purchase price. You could build a VRD Carbon to your utmost desires for less than it would cost to build a Guillemot. And that is terrible. I know. But we're working on a scatter plot. You know what's in my hand. If you've been to the canyon before, you know my feelings on the Redcat Ascent. It's disgusting. And then when they made the Ascent Fusion, they didn't fix anything. They made it shiny and they put different electronics on it. You would think I'd put the Ascent right into F tier, and you're right. Too many people out there suffer. And they suffer from a particular thing. And it's what I call sample size. If you've ever only driven one vehicle in your life, it is by default. That is Schrodinger's rig. It is both the best and the worst in equal measure, because you have nothing to compare it against. If the only thing you've ever driven is the Ascent, you're like, man, this thing is amazing. If you've driven anything else, it's going to be worse. I can kill lines that I watch guys failing on. Your correlation and causation, you're conflating them. You're confusing variables. Because I test things on the same terrain over and over and over and over again. And the Ascent is a vehicle that truly stands out in one singular way. The more parts you take off of it, the more Redcat you remove from it, the better it gets. And eventually, you'll get to those Gen 9 axles, which were deep down in the below section, absolutely terrible in every way. There are straight axles that have more ground clearance at the knuckle than a Gen 9 portal. The GSO2F, the entire series of platform from Gmade, is C tier. Because it should be an FMM and T-case, or a separated gearbox and T-case, and it's not. They made it all one piece. A typical Gmade has a gearbox that's about this long. As long or longer than a 10.3, but they're not as terrible. Gmade does not truck in machined anything. It's all powder metal. And a lot of these are powder metal, but they don't quite do it as good. Junfak, Junfac, is the site in Korea where you're basically going to have to order any part to help replace it. I've had a number of GSO2F based vehicles here. They're all the same in different flavors, much like these are all the same in different flavors. But you can get machine gears, and if you put a bushing in your axle, you might not grenade your pinion gears in your B tier element vehicles. So I feel like I've been dancing around Vanquish. There's not a lot of Vanquish on here. Personal preference, I would put the Phoenix, I want to put it in B tier. This is the Phoenix RTR. I want to put it in B tier, but I'm going to reserve, you know what? I changed my mind. I changed my mind now right here. So, luckily, if you've just stuck these down, you can just peel them right back off. The Phoenix is Vanquish's effort at an element level vehicle. It doesn't come with an interior. It doesn't come with bed sides. They're nickeling and diming you. Meanwhile, while we're at it, is Phoenix a word that to anybody else, when it's written in all caps, it doesn't look like a word? Phoenix. Solidly in the A tier, the Kit Phoenix. It is extremely versatile. And it gets an A tier and not S tier for a singular reason. In the VFD Twin, which is like building a Swiss clock when you first build one, there's an individual pin, a tiny little metal pin about this big, that basically connects the front part of the gearbox and the rear part of the gearbox. There's an E-clip. This is an E-clip that just happens to be here. It's bigger than that one, but it presses a gear against that pin. Sometimes, through slammy jammy. Sometimes you'll just nosedive off of a rock and that E-clip will pop off. That gear will slide loose, that pin will fall out, and then you get to spend about 45 minutes tearing that thing down to get to that gear. And you can have assembled it absolutely perfectly. I've had it happen 4 times now on different vehicles across the fleet. That is an Achilles heel, which I think could be corrected, but it hasn't. So it's going to hold you to an A tier. Even in the kit, I would take the kit over the RTR 100 times out of 100. In terms of an RTR, the base camp is definitely Axial's entry into bone average. It comes with one of my least favorite axles on the planet, the AR45P. Compare that up against the base camp kit, which is A tier, because it has straight axles and the gearbox comes with dig fitted, and it's one of the best digs that there is. Do I think that gearbox is underutilized? I absolutely do, because that is the 2 places that you can get an LCXU gearbox. You can get it in the RTR, which I do not recommend. If you're going to spend that money, buy that. And it comes in the kit. The kit is great if you're looking to build something C-channel. If you're just looking to get an LCXU to fit into something else, you just figured out why Axial will never sell the LCXU as a gearbox kit. Because they don't want you to have it. They want you to have to buy a base camp. Because if they sold the LCXU as a kit, no one would ever buy... if they sold the LCXU as a kit, no one would ever buy the base camp again. That's just the truth of it. The Axial Ghoulie Moo is the H10 optic, and it is solid D tier. And I will die on that hill because it costs too much. The capability is not nearly high enough. And what do people immediately do? The second their H10 optic touches the bench. I've seen the Facebook groups. It hasn't even touched rocks yet. And they've taken their H10 optic and they've put all 3D printed panels on it, 3D printed interior. They've put in the expensive motor of their choice. They've changed to Vanquish beadlocks and tires. They've spent $1,000 to build something that will be outperformed by a $200 Sendero. And if you think that it won't, you're fooling yourself. Because it comes on tires. The RTR tires are terrible. So, there you go. It's only suiting. What is RC 4-wheel drive's entry? It's the TF2. And I don't think anybody's going to argue any different. Anything based off the Trailfinder 2. You've got a bajillion. Performance-wise, it's not going to get you there. Right? You're going to tweak it, and you're going to tune it, and you're going to throw money at it. Just like you're going to have to throw money at an optic, and a Guillemot, and a Capra, and a Basecamp, and all of them. And they're going to eat up that money. The TRX4 HTLWB. That is the TRX4 High Trail Long Wheelbase. A tier. Particularly that F-150 Ranger. It's pretty good. It is knocking on the door of S tier. It really is. Price point is going to hold it back a little bit. And you do have to do a little bit of tweakery. But it's really close. Because I would put any of the TRX4 HT SWBs, like low C. That additional 25 or so millimeters of wheelbase on that long wheelbase compared to the short wheelbase is absolutely transformative. My wife, who has no skin in the game and very little exposure to toy trucks that go fast or slow, truly loved the F-150 Ranger, the long wheelbase high trail. She said this thing is just genuinely fun. And that hits the mark. When I drove that thing, I drove a sport high trail. Ugh. Absolutely terrible. Now, here is one that I should have drawn the asterisk on it before I even stuck it on, because instead, I'll take my pen, which is a giant Sharpie Pro, which is a little too big, and I will write V1, V2. The Axial UTB-18, the V1, is unquestionably RTR. And the one that I drove cost $150. It is absolutely capable out of the box. And it's on this list in the sea of 10th scale and larger vehicles because it's not 18th scale at all. We call it the UTB 12 here. It's basically the same size as an Enduro 12. It does every single categorical measurement better than an Enduro 12. Now, currently, I don't recommend that you buy one of those, despite it being an S tier, because currently available are the V2 for $250. Get out. Literally, go to the door and get out. And the four-wheel steer, which is the horizonification of a product in which we take something which is pure, simple, and elegant, and we ruin it. We make it four-wheel steer, and we charge it on sale $300. The price of a UTB-18 four-wheel steer is currently more expensive than about a third of the vehicles on the board right here. Unacceptable. Truly unacceptable. If you can find a V2 on deep discount, do not go higher than $199. Or if you can find an LHS somewhere that still has a UTB-18 V1 in the back room, I genuinely suggest that you get it. You can throw it in your work truck. You can keep it in the trunk of your car, and you can see a rock, and you can be like, and you can go out and drive on it. It does not need money thrown at it. You can throw money at it if you want, and the parts are very cheap. You can put a Fusion in it for $60. It's truly RTR. It fits little 393 tires. You can buy tiny little tires and put them on. You can put tiny little 393 megalithics or tusks on it and just have a great time. It earns its place in the S tier, despite the fact that Horizon is doing their very best to ruin it. Filling out, basically taking up the last space in C tier, and it has to be read as a kit, is the TRX4. They call it the Scale and Trail. It's not really a kit. It's basically any of these Scale and Trails minus the body. But they sell it for like $400. So, like, it even comes with a radio and the servos and everything. It's just this without a body. Don't buy that. I don't know if anyone has ever bought that. Because if you don't like the body that comes on the full TRX4 Scale Trail, but you want the lockers, you want the 2-speed, you want that stuff, buy one of those and sell the body. You'll still be ahead of buying that and then having to buy a body to put on it. Because if you've browsed the internet recently, a TRX4 full-blown Bronco Blazer are between $180 and $200. This does not cost $200 less than that. If it did, if this cost the same price as that, we would be having a completely different conversation. But it doesn't, and we are not. Influenced by the current state of pricing, and this is based on the pricing. The 10 Pro kit, which is only available as a kit, basically, we're gonna defy a tradition. We're gonna go right here. Here in the Tariff Times, the 10 Pro kit is now $469. If it was $349, it gets slobber knocked by a VRD Carbon. It just gets punched out. The gearbox in the 10 Pro is ridiculous. The only method of construction that makes that overwrought, ridiculous 0 to 40 overdrive gearbox acceptable is if it's paired to 10 Pro portals. Here in the Tariff Times, 10 Pro portals are $193 a pair. You now have a $560 10 Pro that has no wheels, tires, electronics, but no. Absolute non-starter. Take into account that the 10 Pro Axial is one of my favorite axles that there is. It has the best implementation of behind the axle steering. Come at me. S tier, easily, unquestionably, if you can get one, get one. The OT6 Wizard, easily into S tier. Built to such a level of precision and tolerance, it will take you a month of driving just to break the vehicle in. When you build that kit, it is as tight as a drum. The shocks barely cycle. It is tremendous. And at the price that it was sold at $500, it stomps everything out. Oh, I get right here. Come on. Come with me and you'll see this. Oh, wait, no. This is basically a rear axle from an SCX-10-2. It does have a brass cover on it, but I want you to take a look at this axle. This is an AR-44 straight. This is the old version, which had removable pieces. The new, do I have one in the drawer? The new AR-44s are basically all one piece. You can't take the stuff off. This is the axle that would come on the back of things that I've neglected to put on the list, like the SCX-10-2, which would cover up all of these right in the seat. Average, in the middle. Honchos, etc., etc., etc. When people say things like that's outdated, they're talking about that because, like, it's basically built to fit a 540 motor. So, and I've never actually bought. Well, I do. I have had a. Damn it. I have had a 10-2. That's why we keep. That's why we keep blanks. The 10-2 is. We'll go right. We'll go right there like that. I knew we were going to need more space for C, but I didn't do it anyway. Oh, I missed a couple. Everest 10 is F tier. Most of the Redcat vehicles I was rooked into buying by the internet. The Rift RTR is D tier. The Rift kit would be up in like a B, but the Rift kit is long gone. I have a Rift that's been converted to a crawler. It was built from a kit. In terms of kit, I would put... Jeez. I have a couple that I wouldn't even know where to put. Oh! Yeah. Help me complete my thought. What was my other thought? 10-2, Optic and D. Oh, yes. FMS. We'll just call it the FJ40. Okay. The FMS FJ40 is not a rock crawler. And what I should have done is I should have double qualified it, because the FMS FJ40, which goes hard into A tier, not a rock crawler. Terrible at it. The 1941 Willys, which if you can still get it, same thing underneath. Michigan, Atlas. There's this whole series of FMS vehicles that are all built around this same platform. I would call the flagship of it the FJ40. It is one of my favorite platforms. It is one of my favorite vehicles in the entire fleet. I love it. His name is Bruce. He's a big blue FJ40. I take him out trailing every week, and he is majestical. Absolutely majestical. The gearbox is questionable. The axles are fun. I bought a second one. I have two of them. There's actually 3 in the building right now. It can't rock crawl to save its life. But the FMS, we'll put it. We'll just call it the 1941. That is the Willys. The FMS 1941 Willys, solid A tier. There's part of me that fights against another part of me to not put the FMS 941 in S tier. It transported me back in time. It was a legitimate, full-blown time machine. I was 10 years old again, and life was simpler, and food tasted better. Everything was better. Everything was wonderful again. Cannot rock crawl to save its life. But she's right back there. She's lurking. She's always lurking. Does it spark joy? Absolutely. That FMS platform sparks joy. Well and truly does. The Element Builders Kit 3 is going to do the same thing, but it's going to go like this. It's going to go a little bit into B because it's Element, but it's going to go a little bit into C because its normal pricing is a bit too high. As of this recording, they're selling those guys for $200. At $200, heck yeah, buddy. That's a good deal. That's a good deal. You should get one of those. Do a little bit of work on it. Get it put together. Real nice. I cannot put the Comp Fox on here from Element because I've never bought one. But I would. I would. Not at the price that they sell them for, because a lot of the things that stop me from doing these things is the price. It's the price point. Like, the price point is not acceptable. We're going to just overlap these. Wait, let me get some scissors. I have built several GSO2Fs, and old-timey, new-timey, we'll do right over like that. Old-timey, new-timey, there was a time in history where buying a kit meant something. The Element Builders Kit is a little bit of a sign of that. The VRD Carbon is a great sign of that. The Wizard, in which by doing the work, by assembling it yourself, you are given more stuff. You're given better shocks or better links or upgrades. You get upgrades because you're casting off the shackles of the RTR gear. And that, like a GSO2F kit and a GSO2F RTR are basically the same thing. There might be one or two hop-ups, or they'll be like, oh, well, it's got a little bit, or this part's aluminum now. It's not kit-level hop-ups, sadly and unfortunately. Gmade really does also live in its own little kind of sub-realm in which Gmade stuff fits Gmade stuff. Their Axial is not the AR-44, it's the GA-44. It's close, but none of your AR-44 parts fit. Whereas if you buy a Capra, the gears in the middle of the axle are the same as the gears in the Carbon. They're the same as the gears in many other vehicles. Parts commonality is going to influence the placement a lot of time. When the Guillemot and the H10 Optic, they both live in D tier because they're entirely new parts. I don't want to say ecosphere. They're parts ecosystems. Guillemot doesn't share parts with anything else. The Optic shares a little bit, but then they went to brand new axles. Instead of F10s, they went to axles called H10s. And the H10s don't share parts in common other than ring and pinion. And they made an axle that's like 8-10 millimeters wider than an F10 for no conceivable reason. I have one here, which is an H10 cage fitted with no other Vanquish parts, just the cage. And it will outperform any Optic out there that is built with Vanquish parts. I've also seen a conversion lately where somebody put a bunch of Element parts under an Optic cage, and it looks fantastic. Probably does great, too. So, some placements are earned because pricing, some are earned because of performance, some are earned because of both. In the D tier, these two, the JLU and the Optic, are the only ones under $500. No value, no value, no value, no value, no value. I built a Rift kit. I built that Rift kit a couple of years ago. I paid $250 for it. As of this recording, I would like to say that a Rift RTR, which does not have the 2-speed, is $559. It might be $579. Regardless, the price is unacceptable. Trash, below trash, sub-trash, false economies throughout. You'll end up replacing everything. False economies or money holes in which to pour money. Kind of the average stuff. Getting better. I do find it curious that the B tier is just dominated by Element. Because it's all the same vehicle, just in different flavors. Trailing arms, 4-link, but the same length, 4-link. Some have servo and axle, some have IFS, some have... They are truly the Toyota. They build one vehicle in 8 different flavors. The A tier is where things get considerable. I would recommend the A tier. Everything in the A tier I would recommend to anyone. And I would say you could lead along and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put another one into B tier just to break up the element monopoly down there. In the B tier, the Traxxas TRX6. Because it's real Traxxas. It's $650. The tires are okay, but not great. They should have just put 1.9s on it. The body weighs as much as a microwave oven. It's this tall. So if you get into any side hill situation, you just clang the roof into whatever you're trying to get under. But as a platform, it's just a TRX4 with another half of a TRX4 behind it. It's got lockers on it, which you don't need. It's, you know, not everybody needs a TRX6. I think everybody needs a TRX for a sport. If you don't have one, you should get one. You will be genuinely surprised. If you only had the top 4 out of the S tier, I know, yes, 2 of them are kits, but I will continue to contend that the VRD Carbon is the best RTR on the market because, yeah, you have to build it, but building a VFD non-twin is fairly easy. You put it all together. The fitments are great. You fit your electronics, wheels, tires, and body of your choice, and then you go, you're done. There's nothing left to upgrade. It's just done. It's tremendous in that. And it stands kind of alone. The Wizard is a wizard, and it is built, the machining, there isn't a single molded part on the entire vehicle. At $500, you feel like you're stealing. You legitimately do. It comes with fantastic wheels, fantastic tires, fantastic inserts. The body's okay. Nobody is the best at everything, but the VRD Carbon in flat rail comes pretty close, and the TRX4 Sport in C channel, it's out here on its next level. Is Traxxas resting on their laurels with the TRX4 Sport? They haven't given us anything new. Kind of, a little. But then I sit down and think, how would I improve the Sport? How would I improve the TRX4 Sport? To elevate it above the best entry to, like, there's no barrier with a TRX4 Sport. If you start with an Enduro SE, one day you're going to notice you've replaced almost everything. You've done it. It can happen to almost everything on here. Your TRX4 Sport could take you in C channel configuration from where you start to where you end. It has the capability to do that. Or there are off-the-shelf options to bolt-on convert it into an LCG and get it into something truly capable. Skid forward, skid in the middle, whatever you wanted to make it. The sky, to mix a metaphor delightfully, the sky is your oyster with a TRX4 Sport. And I am happy with this list. I'm not 100% happy with how I laid it out. And again, we get that distribution every time. It's a little bit flipping the bird. But yeah, that's how it's going to be. Are there models that I forgot to put on here? 100%. I didn't walk the whole building. I went with what I could remember. And there you go. Fordyce is a detuned Phoenix. The Phoenix is a detuned Phoenix kit. But the Phoenix is great. I love the Phoenix. I bought like 6 of them. But it keeps itself out of A tier. It's just a little bit, being VS410 based, it's a little bit limited. Anyway, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, any of those usual things, throw them in the comments below. I don't think I said anything revolutionary or incendiary, but then again, it's my opinions on the things that I have driven, tested, built, etc. I might drop the Bushido in the C. Like the Bushido is on the fringe between B and C because of that short wheelbase. It doesn't really help it. You kind of have to want it for what it is. But yeah, I mean, I could overthink it until the cows come home. But we're going to leave it just like that. And I'm going to leave you just like this. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Canyon for this. Another tier list. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. In between now and then, please one and all do your very best. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you again here from the Canyon. Some things are never going to go up above where they are. Some things could go down from where they are. And hopefully when we see new stuff in the future, it'll be more in the SAB section than in the SIDF section. But, you know, I'm a realist, so I'm not holding my breath.